To me, it's very instructive to study and think with different worldviews. First of all, simply because it denaturalizes the worldview that we might find ourselves in. And so, like, growing up in a Western worldview where you have an autonomous, rational actor who's the center of all things and independent and just does things rationally. Okay, that's one kind of worldview that many of us might have been inculcated into. But looking at a different worldview helps us see it's not the only one. And in fact, cultures flourish with different worldviews. Of course, this is why travel is so broadening. So right away, I just think it's very helpful to look at a more collective society, and which definitely has pros and cons. Um, but to think about um, how decisions are made in that society, and how the more than human world is accounted for in that. And I think it can be provocative for our own thinking to just consider, what might be different. And again, I mentioned Indigenous Native Americans have some cognate or parallel ideas here in the Bay Area. At CIS, we have been in conversation with the Ramaytush Ohlone people who are the original people of San Francisco, um, and trying to, learn how to be better stewards of the place in the East Bay of the San Francisco Bay Area. The Segurite Land Trust is very active in um, teaching people who live here in the East Bay how to be um, good stewards and in good relation with the original people who are the Ohlone in the East Bay. Um, and so I think there's a lot to learn um, as settler societies from the original people, and a lot of land management practices to learn, but also a lot to learn about the intersection of spirituality and nature, spirituality and ecology, and um, how to bring those more closely together. So, for example, at CIS, we held a conference on Indigenous lifeways, cosmologies, and ecology a few years ago. And it was just incredibly instructive to learn from many of the elders in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I think, yeah, there's a huge amount of opportunity um, to decenter and to denaturalize Western worldviews and learn different.